In today's Leeds news, Cup success for Leeds, women, youth extensions and exit, retained list, Guilavogui exits and thanks, Betis plan another Leeds double and McAtee moves closer. Morning folks, Jer here, Monday morning, the 19th of May with your Leeds United news. I hope you've all had a lovely weekend, enjoyed the nice weather before it turns back towards being nasty. There's a little bit of stuff to get stuck into today. We're in that early part of the week as we approach the end of the season and the last round of games in the Premier League and the European competitions all coming to an end. But we'll start today with some success for the Leeds United's women's team, and congrats to the Leeds United's women's team who picked up the West Riding FA County Cup over the weekend. The game finished 1-1 against Halifax and Leeds ended up coming out on top after a penalty shootout. As seasons go, it's not been a bad season for Leeds all round. The first team pick up the championship winning trophy, the under-21s pick up the National League Cup trophy, and the Leeds women pick up the FA County Cup trophy as well. So well done to everybody involved. All Leeds, aren't we? Across the board, well done to the girls, well done to the lads, and well done to the underage as well. Great stuff for Leeds this season. Let's move on. Let's talk about some youth extensions to their contracts as well as exits. And we're at that time of the year where we start to see players move away from the club who maybe just aren't of the level that Leeds want or are potentially looking at other options for themselves. And Leeds have released a lot of players in the last couple of days, and the youth players have come into the spotlight in the last 24 hours with extensions being offered to some players and releases given to others. Leeds United have offered a third-year scholarship deal to both Alex Baird and Devin Brocky for next season to help in their development. Marley Wilson has been offered a one-year extension to his pro deal after what's been a really challenging year for Marley after a bad back injury last season. Really curtailed a lot of his season this year. He's a good young striker, and hopefully we get to see the best of Marley Wilson into next season. Conan Baird and Harvey Vincent have both been offered their first ever pro deals at the club by Leeds. So exciting day for them and their family. And the under-21 goalkeeper Rory McAtee as well as James DeBayo have both been offered new deals at the club. McAtee's deal is said to be a 3-year deal, and he is rumoured to be expected to go into the senior side for the pre-season campaign only and then stay with the under-21s. The message around all of these deals is that Leeds have offered contracts to these players. There's no confirmation whether they have signed them yet or not, but Rory McAtee is an exciting young goalkeeper and would be one to keep an eye on. Leeds would want to hang on to him over next couple of years. If you've seen him in the under-21s or the under-18s, you'll know what I'm talking about. Also then, it's not all positive news in this situation, sadly, and Leeds have released a few players. Owen Granger, Joe Billett and Leighton Brown will all move on from the club after they weren't offered new deals this summer and will leave Leeds United. So the best of luck to those three guys in their career. Hopefully they can find new clubs and push their way back up through the ranks in the league in the coming years for them. And then congratulations to everybody else who has been offered a new deal or signed their first ever pro deals. Good stuff. Let's move on to the retained list, and this is a step on from this one. And Leeds over the weekend released their retained list, and there wasn't a huge amount of surprises in this, and the bulk of them come from the under-21 squad last season. Goalkeeper Harry Christie has been released by Leeds United and will have to look for a new club this summer, but he wasn't alone. Joe Richards, Chris Moore, Conor Ferguson, Dan Tolson, Cian Coleman, Max McFadden, Joe Snowden, Amari Miller and Luca Thomas will all leave Leeds United this summer with no new deals being offered to them and their current deals expiring. The only surprise in this is Max McFadden, who's been very, very good for Leeds underage and in the under-21s, but apparently, and it's rumoured, the reason around McFadden is due to him having homesickness and being asking to move on from the club and head back home. So we wish them all the best in their futures as well, and hopefully they get some deals. Joe Snowden's a tidy player as well. There's a lot of talk around Amari Miller and what's happened with him over the last couple of years. We just don't know. But we do wish them all an awful lot of success in the future. Leeds also in that list confirmed that they are in talks with Sam Byram and Junior Firpo around new deals at the club. Now they're only in talks, there's no guarantee of a contract offer right now, they're just in conversation around it. But another player in that list that was confirmed to leave Leeds United is Joshua Guilavogui, and he was speaking about this. And as I say in the list, Guilavogui has been confirmed as exiting the club, but he leaves the club with not only a Championship League winners medal but also a couple of club records that might be tough to beat in the coming years. Guilavogui leaves Leeds with a club record of the most games played without losing with 16, the best league win percentage with 87.5%, and the most league games played at Ellen Road with a 100% win ratio, 9 out of 9. Joshua took to his Twitter to post a message to the club, the fans and the management and staff to thank them for everything that he has experienced over the last 7 months. And he said the following: "After a long career at the highest level, I found myself in a place where I knew I still had more to give, but I couldn't just choose any club. I needed something that meant more, something that would truly challenge and fulfill me. As I sit here and reflect on the last 7 months, I am filled with emotion. I didn't expect when I signed to join this club. The journey has meant more than I could have imagined. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's made this season and my time in England truly unforgettable. To my teammates, I thank you for your love, the respect and the consideration you gave me, much more than I could have asked for. We made something historic. We took a lot of trials, but like gold, we went through fire and came out with a gold medal. You made me a champion of England." The coach and the staff, my first thought goes to the boss who took a risk to believe in a player who had never played in the UK. You give me your trust and I will always be grateful. To the staff, so much love. You were always there for us, always making us feel special. The work behind the scenes was unforgettable. You helped make me a champion of England. And to our fans, I knew Leeds was a big club, but now my family and I truly know why. You give us so much strength. With you, the hard became simple, the impossible became possible, and the dream became reality. We didn't fall apart, we stood together, we are marching on together. You made us champions of England. I don't know exactly what comes next, but I move forward with strength, confidence and faith because you give me more than we can ask or imagine. Guilavogui had a massive impact behind the scenes at Leeds. You only need to look at the posts from the players in response to this, and also the comments written on his jersey after we picked up the title as well. He made a massive impact. I think one of the most standout ones was his impact on Willie Gnonto, whose second half of the season just took off and had a very close relationship with Joshua Guilavogui, known for his speeches in the dressing room and his motivation part. That, and you can see that in the Twitter post that he has written. It's a fantastic piece. I wish him nothing but success in the future. He was a joy to have with the club, a big smile, big presence, and made an impact in his own way. So well done to Joshua Guilavogui, and we wish him nothing but success in his career moving forward. But we move on. And Isaac Schmidt was speaking to Swiss media over his time at Leeds over the last year, and the fullback considered moving on from Leeds at Christmas after a frustrating campaign for him since the move. The 25-year-old only featured 12 times off the bench this season for Leeds and didn't start any league games this season. But speaking with Swiss newspaper Blick, Schmidt did say that he considered leaving Leeds at Christmas due to his lack of game time, but has changed his mind since, and he said the following: "I thought about leaving, but I'd only just arrived and I needed to adapt. And I could see that I was making progress. Even without playing, I could feel that I was making steady progress. I was hoping to play if we become champions sooner, and then I didn't want to miss the unique moment. It's not something you experience every day." Schmidt, his current deal runs until 2028, and he was also asked by Blick if he would be a Leeds United player next season. On that, he said this: "We'll see. I'm open to anything, but Leeds in the Premier League, it's a unique experience." Schmidt did add that it is his dream to play in the Premier League, and they didn't support a Premier League club until now, and obviously now Leeds United are the club that he supports in that division. But you can understand anybody considering what he considered at Christmas after making a move to a foreign country and not playing football. It is logical that that thought would pop into your head about, why am I here, what am I doing, should I just go back where I came from and play football again? But he didn't. He stuck with it, he listened. There's a longer term plan there. He's been very decent for Leeds every time he's played, and maybe now with a full season behind him in England, a full pre-season ahead of him, maybe now we'll start to see a little bit more from Isaac Schmidt next season. But what we did see of him, never really let anybody down. He always looked positive, so there's a good player in there. We just need to give him some time, maybe. Let's move on and talk about some transfer stories that popped up over the weekend. The first one is one that is a re-emergence of a link that came out earlier this year, and Leeds were said to have interest in Dynamo Kiev's Vladislav Vanat, and the interest has apparently re-emerged. According to reports in the Ukraine, Leeds and Fulham are said that both have the player on their shortlists this summer, with no actual move having been made, at least not yet. Vanat is 23 years of age, and this season has scored 21 goals and added 8 assists for Kiev. In total, Vanat has 48 goals and 21 assists in 110 games, which is not a bad G&A for a 23-year-old. Sport.ua sources claim that Dynamo are aware of the interest in Vanat, and it does go on to say that they will sell the player to a Premier League club this summer, but not until after their Champions League qualifiers have taken place, which means if a deal is to happen for Vanat, it's likely to happen later in the summer window. Vanat's current deal runs till 2027, so this would be the final year where Kyiv could potentially get a good fee for the player before he moves on. And according to Transfer Market, his value is estimated to be roughly 11 million euros, so about 8.5 million pounds. So not really expensive, and definitely not expensive in Premier League terms. He's a good, exciting young player. I think a smart move for Leeds this summer would be to buy an experienced striker and then a young striker as well, and have that ability to chop and change between the two and allow one to develop and get used to the league while you have an experienced striker doing what's needed for Leeds in the Premier League this season coming up. But let's move on. Let's talk about Real Betis, and they plan a double again this summer. Last season, Real Betis took Diego Llorente and Marc Roca away from Leeds permanently and added them to their squad, both to mixed seasons, I suppose. Roca more so than Llorente. But according to Mundo Deportivo, Betis plan to make another double move for Leeds, and they're planning first to start with a return for Mateo Joseph, having already had a £10 million bid for him rejected by the club. The report claims that they also have serious interest in bringing Junior Firpo to the club, which won't surprise anybody, and he would be on a free transfer this summer. Firpo currently confirmed to be in contract negotiations with Leeds United, but his representatives have said he has been talking to other clubs as well. But the report states that once the Betis' Conference League final is out of the way, they will then make their move for Mateo Joseph. Leeds were rumoured to have put a £12.5 million price tag on Mateo Joseph's head, and $10 million initial bid to £12.5 million bid is not a massive jump, so Betis could try and get that one boxed off. Leeds have done cut price deals with Real Betis over the past couple of years, and this is a position that Leeds can have now to not do a discounted deal for Joseph because they're a Premier League club now and we don't have to do it. Also, with the age that Mateo Joseph is, with the potential, he's only 21, there's still a lot of potential in Mateo Joseph. The smart move here would be to loan him out for a season to Betis, let him go play in Spain, let him go get his confidence up, let him go score goals, and keep an eye on him. And if it doesn't work out, you can sell him then, but don't bite your nose off to spite your face in this situation. But if Leeds were to sell Mateo Joseph, it would obviously give Leeds a decent PSR return, but not what you really want at this point. You want better players, and you want these players to develop. But let's move on and talk about the final story of today, and this one relates to an update on the James McAtee one, which is likely to rumble on over the course of the summer. Pep Guardiola may have given Leeds United their best chance to land James McAtee after his decision around the FA Cup this weekend. Pep dropped McAtee entirely from Man City's FA Cup squad for the final, despite the fact that no one has scored more goals in the FA Cup this season than James McAtee. As mentioned before, McAtee is keen to move away from the club due to a lack of game time, and this will only reinforce his opinion on that. Leeds are said, though, to be one of a dozen clubs keeping an eye on McAtee and having interest in him, so this doesn't make that an open goal just yet. Anyway, a fee of around £20 to £25 million is said to be the likely fee to get McAtee, who is in the final year of his deal now. McAtee keen, as I say, on a move away from Manchester City, and Leeds could be a club that offers him the most amount of game time of the clubs that are said to be interested in him. So if it's fully game time related, Leeds might have a strong opportunity to get McAtee done. Money will likely be a factor in that as well, and European football could come into it if the more established Premier League sides decide to make that move for him. But this is one, as I say, that will likely rumble on over the course of the summer. That'll be it for me today, folks. Back tomorrow. We'll have a podcast out tomorrow night, and we will have a return of Transfer Talk this season as well, coming towards the later end of this week as we start to gear up and look at the credibility of all of these links that have popped up over the last couple of weeks. Folks, also a reminder, the Content Creator Cup is taking place on July 20th. £7 tickets for adults, £3 tickets for kids. Details down below, the link for the tickets. It's for a good cause, prostate cancer, and all the Leeds YouTubers and content creators will be playing in that game. If you want to come down and have a bit of fun, make a family day of it, great to see everyone there as well. I'll be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news, and I will talk to you then. See ya. Bye.